You're on CYInterview.
I'm Chris Shandek, featured columnist Jay Bilstein is with me. Today on CYInterview, we welcome back documentary, filmmaker, actress, and runner Liz Vassey. She is here today with us to talk about that she's going to be running the upcoming Boston Marathon. Liz, thanks so much for being with us on CYInterview. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me back.
Well, we just want to say congratulations to you to begin with, because I know this is going to be a great accomplishment once you finish it. Let me ask you, is there any chance that this story could be part of a second follow-up to The Human Race?
Oh, well, that's kind of interesting. The short answer is I don't know. The longer answer is I end up recording everything just in case, and since people have been kind of asking about whether or not I would do a sequel to The Human Race, it's a good idea. I should get some of this on video so that I can have it just in case.
Jay?
And this, of course, is you are going to be running in the Boston Marathon, which is what, next April, is it? What are we, 10 months?
No, it's October. It's actually
it's
October 11th. They're doing it October 11th this year.
So oh my God. Yeah. So how's your training going? You're going to be running Boston in October, so what are we talking about, 5 months, 4 months?
Well, it was pretty amazing. I'm running for Catherine Switzer's charity, which is called 261 Fearless. And Catherine, just a recap really quickly, was the first woman to run the Boston Marathon, any marathon actually, as a bibbed entry in 1967. People were telling women that if they did long-distance running, that their uterus would fall out or they'd grow hair on their chest. I mean, this is 1967.
Hate when that happens.
It's unreal. She didn't want to hear it, and my kind of woman. So she ran it anyway. She got pushed out of the race. Her boyfriend helped to push her back in, and she finished it. And she was even saying, I'll finish it on my hands and knees if I have to, because I know what this means for women. So she's a hero of mine as a runner, as a feminist, as a human. I mean, she was in my documentary, and I just fell in love with her like everybody does. So I'm running for her charity, 261 Fearless, which is named after her bib number, 261. And it helps women by starting clubs and empowering women through running. And they have clubs all over the world, like 50 clubs on 5 continents. I mean, it's huge. So Catherine wrote me and said, would you like to earn money for 261 Fearless and have one of our charity bibs for the marathon? And I looked at my calendar and I realized I'd have to start training that Saturday. So the timing was absolutely perfect. And I do my 4th long run this weekend, and so far so good. My times are really good. I'm very happy.
Interesting. It's just, as I'm listening to you, I mean, Chris introduced you, documentary, filmmaker, actress, runner. One thing that wasn't said is you are, what are the words I could use today? I have to go down a list and think, I'm just going to say it. You're a good egg. You're a good human being who does good things. Your documentary was much more than a documentary. It wasn't just some feel-good pap, but it really made, at least to me, I'll speak for myself, a bona fide, it was a series of moments of bona fide inspiration. And it was so obvious that it came from a good place. And if I recall in the last election cycle, what did you do? You got 10,000 people to register to vote? Is my memory still working? Was it something like that, 10,000 people?
How kind of you to remember. I signed up for a text bank, and I was texting 300 people every single day. I'd get up early in the morning, and you text them, and you have to text each one. By law, you can't just press send on all of them because it can't be done by a computer. So I was texting 300 people, and then invariably I'd get maybe 50, 75 responses over the course of the day. I'd sit down again. I would answer them. So it was about getting people to vote, and I ended up texting 10,000 people. How many people I actually got to vote, I have no idea, but I do know I made a difference with some of them.
Yeah, and I mean, and now this, and you 12 days ago announced you were going to raise $9,000 for this organization, and 12 days later, I would suspect you can keep raising money for it, correct?
Yes, I'd like to. I want to earn as much as
Yeah,
possible.
so we want everybody, and this is just something we don't do, but we want everybody who listens to this, who reads this, and we'll have your information down lower where they can contribute. Go and contribute, because this is a wonderful cause for and being spearheaded by a wonderful person, and your initiative is being spearheaded by a wonderful person, both you and Catherine. So, but I mean, it's so interesting because, you know, Chris and I have an opportunity to speak with a lot of people, and over a long period of time, who I think a lot of people will never have contact with. And what's so interesting is a lot of times the general public has kind of unfounded opinions about people in entertainment or from TV or movies, and there are so many good, I mean really, truly good, kind of regular folks out there doing good things who just happen to be entertainers or actors or singers or dancers or what have you. And we always love bringing that information to people. What does this mean to you personally, to be able to be running in this race with this woman who, as was pointed out in your documentary, I believe, the organizer literally tried to rip her off the race course. I mean, kind of seeing that, you know, I guess I saw the documentary a couple of years ago. Seeing that, you know, all those years later was just such a cringe-worthy a moment, and there's that photograph of, I guess, her then football player boyfriend kind of throwing a cross-body block and kind of knocking that guy away. What does it mean for you now to kind of be out there and you're going to run Boston kind of in her footsteps? It's just kind of, it's kind of surreal.
It is. It's incredibly surreal. You know, first of all, I was actually talking about this with a friend the other day. I remember when I was a kid, I sat down and I was watching, I was very young, and Dukes of Hazzard was on. And I remember specifically watching and thinking, the girl doesn't get to do anything fun. And I didn't understand that as a kid. And I was always very athletic as a kid. I never played with dolls. I played with toy cars. I played with Star Wars figures and superheroes. And it made me very different than a lot of, I grew up in the South. It wasn't what was expected. So, women that try to expand what it means to be a woman and the opportunities that other women have, it's one of my women's issues in general it's one of my biggest causes. It's one of the things I care about the most. So Catherine, I was a huge fan of hers to begin with, and I reached out to her when I was making the documentary, and honestly, I asked her if she'd do the voiceover. I just wanted her to do the voiceover. And she said, you can follow me running if you want. I'm running the New York City Marathon. You can follow me, you can film me, I'll be one of your runners if you want. Which already was so kind, and I said yes. And then I met her, and, you know, a lot of people are great in front of other people when they're putting on a show, and she didn't realize a lot of the time that she was on camera. And I have so much footage of this woman, and I can say that there's not a second when she's not inviting people into her glow. She is a spectacular human being. I'm honored to call her my friend, and after she ran the New York City Marathon, I ran the next year with my husband, and she greeted me at the finish line, which was just a dream come true. So when she asked me to run Boston, my husband and I talked about it. There's just no way I could say no. It's the 125th marathon. It'll be my second, and I'm running it for her organization that helps make women's lives better and that helps to empower women through running. So basically, I said, David, if I had a brand, this would be it. So I was all over it.
I have to tell you something. I'm rarely caught at a loss, but just listening to you, this whole story is just so, I just say heartwarming. It's just so incredible. I mean, I was so taken with your documentary. I really, truly was. That documentary and Forks Over Knives. That's kind of my pair. One is the eating side, and one is the kind of lifestyle working out side. And they both have meant so very much to me. And now that you're doing this, and you said something, and I want to visit this because you said it before, and we really never spoke to you about it. Use the term feminist. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you call yourself an activist, an advocate, whatever it is, but could you speak about that a little bit? Because I think we're in such a polarized time right now, and I don't think a lot of people understand that women standing up for the empowerment of women and having the opportunity to pursue what they want to do is in no way looking to pull back men. This is not about cutting a man's rope. It's about lengthening a woman's rope. No,
I'm so glad you said that, because a lot of times the word feminist has such a bad connotation, and it's staggering to me because I don't understand why every single person walking the earth isn't a feminist. All we want as women is equality. It's the same thing I want for everybody. All colors, all genders, all religions, everybody should be treated as equal. I grew up this way. I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you before, but my dad was a minister. And that has a bad connotation, which is interesting to me. I know what people think when I say that, and it's not fair to him because he was a man, along with my mom. They both wanted everybody to be treated equally. It's everything I think that religion should be. It's about understanding and acceptance and forgiveness. And by the way, they believed in science and evolution as well, but they just wanted everybody to treat other people as they wanted to be treated. It's that simple. So that's all, as far as I'm concerned, that's what feminism is to me. I want parity. I want equality. I am married to a wonderful man, and I have been for 17 years, and I wish him all the best. I have wonderful male friends. I don't want anything from them. I just want to be viewed as equal. Somebody wrote on Twitter, it's equality. It's not pie. You don't run out. I mean, everybody can have it.
That's very funny. That's very funny.
We can all have it together, and nobody loses.
I can't think of the newspaper. I don't know. It wasn't the Times. One of the New York newspapers. My God, this goes back almost 30 years. And in some interview, I said, I didn't say I was a feminist. I said something like I was an ardent feminist or I was a big feminist or whatever it was. And some of the guys I knew, like, you consider yourself a feminist? And I said, how could you not be a feminist? I mean, what are the tenets of feminism? I never met any bona fide feminist who just didn't really want equality and a fair playing field. I mean, why wouldn't you be for that? It's kind of mind-boggling. But, maybe through this interview also, you're a regular person, you're down to earth, you're well-intentioned, well-meaning, and you do good things. That's an example of a feminist. You're a good example for feminism.
Thanks. I think all the women friends that I have in my life are. They're all independent. They all just want to be viewed as equal. And for the record, it's interesting. My husband and I talk about this. They're tiny microaggressions that women see every day, and I wish those would stop as well. We go out to dinner, and 9 times out of 10, they'll hand the credit card to him. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, we both have worked our entire lives. We split bills. We take each other out. Somebody comes to fix the house. They look at him. It's like, well, I know about the pipes that run under our house. I know how they work. I know what it means to sleeve them. Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean that I don't know about this and that I haven't learned about this because it's half my house. So it's just interesting because a lot of men, I find, they don't see it because we've just gotten so used to it.
I think you bring out a very good point. I think you bring out a good point. And speaking with you, remind me a lot of my sister. I mean, my sister is a professor at Columbia University, and she just like you wants an even playing field. But I also can't think of a woman out there who's, more pro-guy. In other words, being a feminist is not being anti-guys at all, in any way, shape, or form. To the contrary. So I think that's a very, very positive thing. And I think what you're doing is, once again, you're actually rolling up your sleeves and you're walking your talk. In preparing, what kind of mileages are you looking to cover? You think you're going to be getting up to, I don't know, when you ran New York, what was that, back in 2018 at your highest mileage a week? Were you doing 80 miles a week? Were you doing less? Were you doing one long slow distance a week and 3 or 4 shorter distance? How was your preparation? What have you learned, and how will that preparation change?
That's great. Well, first of all, I'm following Hal Higdon. Like, this is what several of the coaches from the documentary told me. It's old school, and it works. So I like that. I also went to a lot of the coaches that I interviewed for the documentary, and they gave me hints on, snacks that I could carry with me, how often I should try and hydrate, salt pills, like just the electrolytes, and when to take them. And so all that was invaluable. They also told me to wear what I'm going to wear for the race, that I have to make sure I do a lot of my long runs in that, because you don't want to find out that something chafes or gives you blisters the day you're running a marathon, which was also really good advice. And the program, my daily run, if I'm not training for a marathon, I usually run a 10K a day. And I
Wow.
Yeah, I just love
Wow.
the station for me. It's either that or a bike ride. So I tend to, on cross-training days, I'll take a break and I won't run, and I'll do the bike, either stationary bike or go out. But now that I'm training for the marathon, what I'm trying to do is not get above my normal mileage, which if I were to run every day of the week would be 42 and change. So I don't want to be putting my feet through more than that. So I'm doing a lot more biking, and if I bike at a high cadence, one of the coaches told me that actually helps with your cadence when you run. So, but I do something every day. I'm not great at resting anyway, and I'm in an incredibly competitive industry, and it keeps me sane to break a sweat every day. Now, how hard I work to break that sweat might change. Someday it might be a hike, other days it might be biking. But I am I'm religious about my long runs on the weekend when I'm training, and so far I've done an 8-miler, a 9-miler, a 6-miler, because they give you a little bit of a break. This Saturday will be 11, and then it works its way up, but it's very shrewd about the way it does it, because after 11 comes 12, and you think, well, I've already done 11, what's 12? And then the next weekend it's 9, and you go, oh my God, I'm taking a break, it's only 9. I mean, it really is psychologically sound what they're doing. And the highest mileage is 20. And a lot of people think you don't have to do that 20, that 18 is where you can top out, because in general, if you get to mile 18 of a marathon, you could basically walk the last 8 and change. But I did do the 20 last time. I had to do it on a treadmill because of weather, which sucked. But I normally go and run around. There's a lake close to me, and I run around the lake. So this weekend is 11 miles.
Couple of quick questions. When you ran New York, did you bonk? Is your husband going to be running this with you, and are you significantly changing your nutrition in preparation?
I did not bonk, thankfully. I was really worried about that because you keep hearing about it. I didn't, and my husband didn't. He will not be running it this time with me, but he will be going and cheering me on and hopefully bringing me snacks and meeting me at the finish line. And am I changing my nutrition? I'm vegan. So the biggest way that I change my nutrition, I just eat more. It's just the furnace starts burning so hot. Like there's a restaurant I go to out here. It's my favorite restaurant in town, all vegan. And I'll go, and if it's the night, they know me now. I'll come in after a long run day, and I'll order 3 entrees. I am not kidding. I'll order 3 entrees and 2 gigantic glasses of wine. We'll go home, we'll sit down to watch a movie, and I will have brought home a small vegan pizza, like a personal pizza, and about 2 hours later I'll go, I need a snack. I'll go down and I will eat the vegan pizza. Like it's all about getting at enough calories.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is so exciting. I hope, I don't know if you would, it's probably so much work, and I mean, you're a professional, so I don't think you'd do anything half measure. I mean, I wonder if you could just, put on one of these GoCams a bunch of times, take some clips, show yourself, I don't know, preparing whatever you might put together for breakfast in the morning, and then wear a GoCam on on Boston, when you do Boston, and just kind of edit it all together and have like some kind of mini documentary you just put up online or something. I mean, it'd be so great to see how you actually do this. I think it's so exciting.
Well, you know what? I think that's a really good idea, particularly to thank the people. I can't thank these people enough. As you said, it happened in 12 days, and I would say half of them were people I'd worked with and were friends. Half of them were complete strangers, which was just amazing to me. They were moved by the organization. They were moved because they're a runner and they can't run this year, so they wanted to give money to me. The last person that put me over the $9,000 mark, which was, I pledged to earn $9,000, so I had to get to that mark. The person that put me over dedicated it to my mom. It was somebody who
Oh, my goodness.
God, it'll make me tear up talking about it. It was somebody that worked with her before she passed away, and he just said, "This is in honor of your mom." And I thought, oh, this is so perfect that the person who did that did it for her. I felt like she was smiling.
Well, let's get you way over that. Where can everybody contribute? Where do we have to go to? Fill us in, please.
I can send you the link. Now I'm gonna have to vent a little bit. I'm gonna have to vamp a little bit because I have to find it on here. But
you'll give it to us, and we'll post it along with this, and everybody who's listening to this can look at the article that accompanies it and look down at the end of the page, and they will see it, and we will have it up there. And I don't know, Chris, you're the one who handles social media. We can also put that up on Facebook, can we not?
Correct, we sure can.
Oh, well,
okay,
thank you.
so
I know it's through Give and Gain. I've never worked through them before, but it's my Give and Gain page, GIVENGAIN, and it's for Liz Vassey. But I don't. The link is long and involved. But
we'll put the link at the bottom of the article for the CY interview on this page, so everyone can see it. Don't worry.
We'll get it up there.
Perfect. Thank you.
We will get it up there. This is fantastic. Liz, thank you so much for coming by and kind of giving us a walk through what you're doing and everything you're going to be doing to get there.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really sweet. Those were great questions, too. I appreciate that.
Quick question, Liz, on a side note. CSI Las Vegas is now back. Any chance that you could come back?
Zero, sadly. They aren't really bringing back. I know they're bringing back Wally and then Billy and Georgia, and to the best of my knowledge, I think that's it. So,
okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting that question a lot, and I think every single other person in the cast, I'll just be completely frank, I think we would all have been 100% open to it, particularly because Wally's on it, but I don't think that was part of their plan because they want to reboot and use fresh blood, which I also understand.
Interesting.
But,
That was 11 years ago for you, no? That was the last season you were in was what, 2010?
Yeah.
And then you came back as a guest, if I recall.
I did. I came back to say goodbye. I came back for one goodbye episode just because I wanted to make sure she was written off respectfully. I wasn't sure what they were going to do with her for a while there, and they gave her a promotion and moved her to another city. As long as she got promoted, I was happy. But yeah,
Never asked you this. What was your favorite episode?
Probably the one that I co-wrote with Wally, called Field Mice. It started my writing career because I fell in love with the whole experience. So Wally and I wrote an episode about young CSI wannabes coming in and following.
Right. I remember that, and they were at times a little bit impertinent, were they not? And
yes, they were. Yeah. But I'm just doing that episode in particular. When you write dialogue and Lawrence Fishburne is saying it, it radically changes you. It was just an incredible experience. So but all the Lab Rat episodes were so much fun just to have them sort of do.
Also, what was the one that was like that knockoff of Star Trek? I don't remember what the name of that was, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Space Oddity was the name of that.
Right.
About a show called AstroQuest. And
AstroQuest.
I know because I have a baseball cap that says AstroQuest right in front of me. That was great because I thought, as somebody who's done a couple cons, I thought they really nailed what cons are like in a really respectful way because I don't like to do anything that makes fun of a population of people like that. The truth is the fans at cons are terrific. So I thought they did it in a really, the guys that wrote for Battlestar Galactica, so they know what they're talking about. And I just thought they wrote it so beautifully. And
that was a great show. That was a great episode.
Thanks.
Chris?
Bill Four, actress, Liz Vassey, filmmaker, and of course runner, featured columnist Jay Bilstein, and CY Interview. I'm Chris Shandock.